Good morning and welcome to Micron's Corner with a daily technical update. It is the 27th of June. I'm still a bit under the weather, so please forgive me if there are some hiccups and coughs and stuff. But we'll start with Micron Technology that released earnings in the aftermarket last night. It was trading lower, 7-8% lower, but ended around 4% lower at just around 135.50. Just around this minor support here, and that comes on the back of this massive bearish engulfing here that actually took out the past 2 days or the previous 2 days of bullish trading. There's divergence on the RSI indicating that it was a turbulent reversal, but we could see some support as mentioned at 135.50 and the lower rising trend line here. If it closes below the 135.50, which is not unlikely, well, then we could see a push towards these lows here around, and let's just draw a trend line around these levels here, which is around 121 and a change. Also looking at the weekly, it looks very stretched. That's the same picture on most semiconductors, but some of them also, like Nvidia, still have some fairly strong sentiment on the RSI. On the S&P 500, well, it is still doing fairly well. Closed a little bit higher yesterday. If it takes out the 5,506 level here, well, then we are likely to see higher highs, and the positive RSI on the on S&P 500 does support that picture that we'll see higher levels. The same with the Nasdaq. Really, there's no divergence on the RSI, so it is indicating we could see higher levels, but there will be some fighting going on here the next few days and also into next week. In Europe, not really that much. I mean, it collapsed yesterday. When we talked yesterday, Eurostoxx 50 was actually above the resistance here, but it did collapse and tested the 48.88 support. So it's in very tight range, and we also have negative sentiment. So I think we'll see it sliding lower here in coming weeks. But look out for these support levels. DAX also couldn't hold on and push higher, so it also closed back below the cloud. So we are still in a negative mood there, really. The Amsterdam index still above a 918, which is the key level, and also above the lower rising trend line. CAC 40, which has been the weakest of them all, and yesterday proved it, and also this morning proved it once again. It got hammered almost from the get-go yesterday. Some support at 73.53. We could see a retest of the 74.64 key support here. If it does take out that, well, then we're looking at 7300. The Swiss market in this range here between 12,182 and 11,955. Moving on to euro dollar, that has once again tested the key support at 106.65. That is a key support, as you can see here, and let's just let's keep this one at the this Fibonacci here. If it takes out the 106.65, then we're looking at 106. Can it again bounce higher? But it needs to move back above 107.65, sorry. Then we have it push up to 108.16, but it seems quite heavy. But it's really fighting for this level here. As we can see, it's 3 times now it has tested it and bounced. But let's see, euro sterling bounced off just above the 61.8 retracement at 84.25. We are in a bearish trend. We are in a negative sentiment. But if it takes out 84.85, well, then we could see a push higher towards 85.25, maybe a little bit higher there. Cable totally cancelled this bullish engulfing candle there Friday. Not unsurprisingly, I would say it was a little bit expected with this bearish trend we are in here. But the 55 moving average is giving some support and holding on to it. But I do believe we could see a push towards the 125, 60, 65 level, where we have some strong support with the 200 moving average and the cloud area. However, if it takes out the 127, well, then I think we could see it resuming uptrend. Dollar yen pushed higher yesterday. Let's zoom in a little bit, and it reached 200% of this correction here, and it also took out the previous peak here. So now we have to go really, really far back to see levels like this. I can zoom out here on the monthly chart. We really have to go back far. We will see we are trading around the 1989 and 1990 levels here, or back from that time. I would expect we will see a little bit of correction from these levels here down to possibly, and I think if we add the Fibonacci there, then we could give a little bit out there, maybe down to around 158.45. But the trend is fairly strong despite having some divergence, but positive sentiment. So be careful. We need some confirmation here. Euro yen also pushing higher. Despite showing divergence, it has closed above the upper falling trend line. We had a positive sentiment. I think we could see it pushing higher towards 173 in the coming days. Also, Aussie yen, while we similar to the other yen pairs, we have to go really far back and see 107.88 back here in 2007, 2008. That is the level we are looking for. Sterling yen, we have to go also very far back to see levels for sterling yen here. 214. There's no strong resistance until it. Not saying that we'll just sprint up there. There will be some correction, obviously, but as long as it stays above this rising trend line here, I'm fairly confident. But if it takes out the 211, 200 and 200 spot 45, well, then we could see a larger correction. The Aussie dollar still in this size range, so let's just move on. The same with dollar Canada we talked about the past few days. These levels here are the key ones. Swiss markets, the Swiss franc resistance at 96.07 being rejected maybe again. Let's see if it takes out that. Well, then we're looking at 96.75 resistance around that level, possibly pushing all the way up to the 97 and below the cloud. We are still in a negative sentiment on the RSI, so it should we need the RSI to close back above 64 for really upside momentum, but it's not unlikely. If we move up to around the 98, above, especially above the 61.8 retracement here at 97.63, well, then I think we will see that. If it takes out the very strong support area here down 95, 94, 64, well, then we are looking much lower. Dollar Swiss knocking on the resistance here at 89.88. And just below the cloud, and we have the 100 moving average, so there's some resistance there. We also have the 55 coming down, adding some resistance. So it will be a struggle for a dollar Swiss to push higher. The only thing you can say is that there was divergence here on the RSI, so it was a little bit of exhaustive move, and you had this bottom and reversal pattern. But let's see if it can take out this resistance. Then well, maybe there's potential up to 91. And finally, the dollar index, we are looking at 106 is 33, 35, these levels over here. It is in an uptrend, RSI back above 60, confirming and supporting the bullish trend on the dollar index. Gold, well, more or less still trading sideways. Again, observe 22.85 could be tested, but we are in a positive sentiment despite having divergence. This level will be key, and we are below the 55 and 21 moving average. So maybe we will test it here fairly shortly, and which we can see the silver spot is testing its minor support here at 28.65 and the 61.8 retracement. I think we could see a push down to below the 28, but I need confirmation again. I need the RSI to close below 40 before I call it. So the RSI is still indicating to me we could see higher levels, but we are not there yet. So the pressure is seems to be to the downside. Looking at platinum, an interesting development yesterday where it actually spiked, and also this morning, but yesterday really spiked above 1,015, but closed below, just below with $0.50 and trading also below now. It really needs to close above for upside momentum, and we need the RSI to close above 60 threshold to confirm bullish trend on platinum. Copper, on the other hand, seems fairly heavy, very close to the 100 moving average, which is just around 429 and a change. I think we could see still pushing down to the 61.8 retracement, possibly dipping down to the 416. On the energy side, well, not much to say really. They are just humming away to sideways around these levels here. I think we will slightly, it will slide lower in the coming days, despite showing this bullish trend and the RSI above 60, but it seems fairly fragile. And we also have the most of the moving averages pointing lower, so it's a little bit fragile. It definitely needs to close above the cloud here. You can see taking out the 82.30 level on the WTI and Brent. It needs to close above the cloud here too for really making a push higher. And as usual, we'll look at the US 10-year Treasury yields that has bounced nicely. If it can get back above and close above the 100 and 200 moving averages here and into the cloud, then well, we could see a push towards the strong resistance here at 447. Otherwise, I think we will slide slowly back in the coming days. All right, that's all from me today. Have a nice day and happy trading as usual.